Hi everybody, my name is Miranda Kleins and welcome to my signature presentation. A little bit of housekeeping on my end. I always just like to give fair warning when I'm recording at home. I do have 5 fur babies. Yes, we do run and operate a zoo. No, just like animals. But they may come and try to say hi and visit me while we're in the middle of this presentation. So if we have fur baby visitors, just extra bonus for you guys, right? Alrighty, so let's move it along. Let's look at the competencies that I chose. So I looked at standard number 4, specifically subset A, which is all about understanding the importance of positive relationships with our kids that we are teaching, with the families that we're working with our staff, all of that. I picked that one because I feel like, again, ethics really ties into our ability to form meaningful relationships. And so if we're ethical, we can have those good relationships. So it seems kind of in part, or, it seems like it went well together. I also chose standard 6, subsets B and C. B being obvious, educators know how to uphold ethical standards. And then section C is all about our communication skills because, again, I feel like ethics, relationships, communication, it's all one big happy family because we can't have one without the other. All right, let's look at our artifacts. So for my first artifact, I chose the signature essay, A, because that's usually, what we do. But B, I really did enjoy this project because it was a good demonstration of my ability as a professional to revisit past projects, see what I did well, and be like, good job, Miranda, and then see what I could do better. And when I first started, I was like, I'm not going to find anything wrong. I did everything ethically. I really put my whole heart into those decisions. And what I found is that, well, yes, I gave my best effort. There was room to grow, especially now that I've learned more about the code and I can refer to it a little bit faster without necessarily being like, hang on now, what is this? So when I was looking at the first dilemma and revisiting that in our signature essay, what I found is that I had completely left out the family. I know, right? Like the most important player. But what we had done is when we had that interdisciplinary team meeting, we had it with the director of the center, the teachers, the TAs, and then a behavioral specialist. But where was the kid's family? And so when I was really looking at that situation, I realized to be in line and to make a truly ethical decision, I needed to make sure that the family is a part of that communication. So that was really good for me. I also got to see that while a lot of my other decisions were based in ethics and were following the code and were supported by, standards within the code, what I found was that there was room to grow. So it wasn't just as cut and dry as I had made it, that there were answers that maybe just fit a little bit better. So that was a fun project. I liked that. My second artifact is it's a real life situation. So it's not an assignment that we had in class, but it just came at a perfect time for me. So as you all know, I work at a domestic violence shelter, and we had a mom in shelter who was having, it was a rough mental health crisis. She was not in touch with reality, was experiencing a lot of delusions and paranoia, and it was just kind of a scary situation. She was still currently in the care of her youngest kid, and was making some serious and very scary statements about him, which I can't go into too much detail, obviously, because of confidentiality for the kid and the mom, and it's against the federal law for me to tell people confidential information about DV victims. So anyway, that's where that story will end. But long story short is we had to make the decision of how do we keep this kid safe while respecting the mom's right to say, I don't want treatment and I don't want my kid to leave my side. And then how did we ethically move forward with being like, hey, mom, you're really having a crisis here. We need to get you help. So it was awesome to be able to have that real life situation where I was able to work with my team members, with with the family, the mom, and then other outside agencies. And it was so funny because in the hospital, the doctors were like, well, just tell us the situation. And it was really great to be able to not only be like, A, the law prevents me from it because of confidentiality, but B, it's unethical. And to have that code to back up the decisions that we were making throughout the night, which was really, really cool. And as I've said, I know I'm not, in the most concrete sense an educator. I do like to think of myself as as a form of educator, just not a teacher per se. So anyway, that's why I chose that real life situation as artifact number 2, because it really was a good demonstration of my ability to take what I've learned in this class and apply it to the real world in a meaningful way. Okay, so why did I choose these two? Well, we kind of talked about that, right? But here's the slide. So first, looking at the signature essay, it was a chance for me to revisit the dilemmas and then see that I needed to be more inclusive of families and to see that I needed to expand. And so for me, that was proof of knowledge of the code of ethics, because I was able to get that in there. I was also able to support my decisions that I had previously made with the code. And then it demonstrated a professional level of writing and communication. So when we look back, here we go, at our NACCE competencies, the signature essay, I feel like, supports these because it showed that I was having those good relationships with my coworkers. Throughout the signature essay, we had to revisit those dilemmas. And throughout those dilemmas, I had talked about how I would handle that with my professional peers, or how I have handled those situations with my coworkers. So I feel like the signature essay demonstrates 4A. I also think it demonstrates 6B because, again, it shows that I understand the ethical guidelines and how to utilize them. And then professional writing skills. Let's go back real quick. All right, as far as the real world experience, let's talk about why I chose that one. It proved the importance of building and maintaining those relationships because thankfully we were able to get that mom help and her child into a safe place. So I really felt that was a demonstration of why it's important to have that respect, that communication, and to really fall back on some of those responsibilities we as educators have. I felt like it also demonstrated a deep understanding of the code of ethics because I was able to use that in real time without it right next to me, like, all right, subsection A says, I was able to just kind of draw back on, okay, what is my responsibility as an educator? What is my responsibility to the child, to the family, all that. So I felt like that was great. And then it really highlighted, again, professional communication skills. Not so much writing because I didn't write anything, maybe a case note when I was done, but it was the professional communication with my coworkers, with the family, with the child, with the outside agencies, with the police, everybody. It was a big old deal. So let's go back real quick. The NACCE competencies, does it meet these? 4A, yep, had some positive relationships, not only with my coworkers, but with the mom herself. I was able to make those ethical decisions. And then section C, we had those professional communication skills where we were able to get our needs met, mom's needs met, and then the kiddos' needs met. So that's it. So yeah, do they demonstrate knowledge? Absolutely. Both of these projects prove that I have a deeper understanding of the importance of ethics in early childhood education. They one of the things that we were also introduced to in this class that I really have not done a ton of research into yet, just because it wasn't part of a lot of our assignments, but I have been looking at it as a supplement. It is the supplemental code for administrators. Because I am not necessarily a direct service staff member, I am administrative. That is something that I'd like to get more familiar with so that moving forward, I have that in my repertoire of tools that I can use and pull out as I need to, as I make those bigger decisions. So, all right, how am I going to use this in the real world? Well, I just kind of gave that part away. I want to take these codes with me, both the educator's code and then the supplemental administrator's code. And I feel like if I can take those with me into future jobs, if I can utilize them in my current job, not only am I going to be more ethical in my decision making, I feel like I can better articulate why I'm doing certain things, which I feel like is super important. And like I say here, ethics is a responsibility, not a choice. One of the things that Stephanie Feeney kept saying throughout this entire class that I really, really enjoyed is that ethics are so important in the field of early childhood education because we're working with such a vulnerable population. You know, they can't fight back for themselves. They can't necessarily vocalize things that are happening that are not okay. And so the code of ethics really is a protection for them and for us to ensure that these relationships are being done on the up and up. So I really liked that. Um, Geez, I just keep kind of getting ahead of myself with my talking. But anyway, so the conclusion is kind of like we just said. It's all about making those differences, uh, perpetuating the idea that early childhood education is a profession and not just a babysitting job that we do on the weekends. This is a real career. Fun fact, I'm going to share a quick anecdote about this being a profession. I once had dinner with a high executive of my husband's company, and we were talking, and he asked what I did, and I explained, oh, I'm going to early childhood education. And this man looks me dead in my eyes, folks, and he says, oh, I didn't know people did that for a career. My wife volunteers, and we thought it was just a volunteer gig. I was like, please stop. Don't talk to me. But anyway, so whole point of the story is it's for situations like that that the code of ethics matters, because then I can say not only do I have a degree in the field that you thought shouldn't be a career, I also have professional standards by which I have to act and uphold. So anyways, that's it for me. Here are my references. There are 2 whole stinking pages. I was hopeful I'd get it into one, but it didn't happen. All right, folks, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.